You do not fight an enemy who knows your plans. For centuries, that is the rule of war. Armies march on secrecy. Fleets maneuver on surprise. If your enemy can read your orders, the battle is already lost. And in 1941, there is one truth every naval power believes without question. Japanese naval codes are unbreakable. They are complex, layered, constantly changing. Even Japan's own officers cannot read them without training. Messages are encrypted, re-encrypted, then buried under procedural noise. The Imperial Japanese Navy believes its communications are mathematically secure, and therefore strategically invisible. So invisible, in fact, that Japan plans an entire war around that assumption. Pearl Harbor, the Philippines, Wake Island, the Dutch East Indies. Every move synchronized by radio. Every order transmitted with confidence. And for months, the results seem to prove the rule. America is always late, always reacting, always one step behind. Japanese admirals believe they are watching an inferior navy stumble in the dark. But in early 1942, inside a sweltering basement in Hawaii, one man begins to see the shape of Japan's future battles before they happen. And in June of that year, one moment proves the rule was never true at all. You find Joseph Rockefort hunched over a desk in Pearl Harbor, wearing a bathrobe and slippers instead of a uniform. He is 42 years old, awkward, brilliant, stubborn, and deeply uninterested in Navy politics. He runs Station HYPO, the U.S. Pacific Fleet's cryptanalysis unit. Rockefort is not a traditional officer. He is a linguist, a puzzle solver, a man who learned Japanese before the war, studied their naval culture, and understands how Japanese officers think, not just how they write. His workspace is cramped, hot, no windows. Fans push humid air over stacks of intercepted radio traffic. His team works 12, 14, sometimes 18 hours a day. They sleep on cots. They argue. They smoke constantly. And they are losing. Since December 7th, Japan has not stopped winning. American battleships burn in Pearl Harbor. Allied forces collapse across the Pacific. The Japanese combined fleet moves like a ghost, appearing, striking, vanishing. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto now plans his masterpiece, Operation MI, a trap designed to destroy America's remaining aircraft carriers in one decisive blow. Midway Atoll is the bait. Japan believes the Americans will never see it coming. But Rockefort is reading fragments of Japan's naval code, Jan 25. Not full messages. Not yet. Just pieces. Call signs. Timings. Repeated phrases. Enough to feel a pattern forming. And one code word keeps appearing. AF. The problem is simple. No one knows what AF means. Rockefort does not guess. He tests. The fragments tell him AF is a location. It is important. It is under imminent attack. The Japanese are allocating carriers, battleships, cruisers, and submarines in precise coordination. If Rockefort is wrong, the Pacific Fleet sails into a trap blind. He is right, the war changes direction. Washington disagrees with him. Naval intelligence in D.C. believes AF is somewhere else. Maybe the Aleutians. Maybe a deception. Rockefort is told, politely, that his assessment is flawed. He refuses to back down. So he devises a trap of his own. Midway is ordered to broadcast an unencrypted message reporting a failure in its freshwater distillation system. Nothing dramatic. Just a routine logistical problem. Rockefort waits. Hours later, Japanese intercepts arrive. AF is short of water. There is no debate anymore. AF is Midway. Rockefort sends the confirmation up the chain. Admiral Chester Nimitz reads it carefully, slowly. He understands exactly what this means. Japan is coming. And America knows when and where. Now the clock starts. Japanese forces are already moving. 4 fleet carriers. Over 240 aircraft. The most powerful naval strike force ever assembled. America has 3 carriers left in the Pacific. Enterprise, Hornet, Yorktown. Yorktown is damaged, barely seaworthy. Nimitz does not hesitate. He commits everything. The carriers sail north of Midway. Not where Japan expects. They move in radio silence. They hide behind weather fronts. Every decision is based on Rockefort's estimates, down to the hour. June 4, 1942. Dawn. Japanese aircraft launch toward Midway. Bombs fall. Fires rise. Pilots report the island is damaged, but not destroyed. Admiral Nagumo hesitates. He orders his reserve aircraft rearmed for a second strike. Then a message arrives. American ships have been sighted. Nagumo must choose. Strike Midway again, or prepare for naval combat. Below deck, bombs are swapped for torpedoes. Fuel hoses snake across hangar decks. Aircraft are packed wing to wing. This is the moment of maximum vulnerability. And Rockefeller's clock is almost perfect. American dive bombers arrive late. Confused. Lost. Fuel gauges dip. Failure feels inevitable. Then, by chance, by skill, by exhaustion and luck, one squadron breaks through. 10,000 feet. 8,000. 6,000. No fighters above the Japanese carriers. No warning. The dive begins. Bombs fall. Akaji. Kaga. Soryu hit within minutes. Explosions tear through hangar decks loaded with fuel and ordnance. Firestorms erupt. Crews fight hopelessly. By afternoon, Japanese carriers are lost. So is the myth of Japanese invincibility. If you find this kind of untold history as fascinating as we do, we'd be honored if you'd hit that subscribe button. We believe these stories of courage, sacrifice, and genius deserve to be told. And by subscribing, you help us ensure they aren't forgotten. Act 4. The Ripple Effect. What Japan does not know, cannot know, is why this happened. They believe it was bad luck. Poor scouting. American recklessness. They never imagined their codes were compromised. And so they keep using them. Again and again. America reads their plans at Guadalcanal. In the Solomons. In the Central Pacific. Convoys are rerouted. Ambushes prepared. Battles are shaped before the first shot is fired. Japanese commanders grow cautious. Paranoid. They shorten messages. Reduce coordination. Strategic clarity erodes. The true impact of Midway is not just 4 carriers. It is informational dominance. From this point on, the U.S. Navy increasingly fights with foreknowledge. Not perfect, not complete, but enough. Enough to win. Joseph Rockefeller does not receive a medal. Instead, he is sidelined. Politics. Ego. Credit claimed elsewhere. He retires quietly. Dies in 1976. For decades, his role remains classified. But today, every modern intelligence operation follows his logic. Test assumptions. Exploit patterns. Never assume secrecy. If this story moved you, please hit that like button. Every click tells the algorithm this piece of history is worth remembering. We're dedicated to rescuing these forgotten stories from the archives. If you want to join us on this mission, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment with your city or state, and tell us if someone in your family served. Thank you for ensuring that Joseph Rockefeller and the men of Station HYPO do not disappear into silence. They deserve to be remembered.